Hey there, sports fans, and welcome to another edition of Foul Territory. I'm your host, Mike Smith. The 2014 season is officially underway. We've had a couple teams play 6 games, so things are looking good, and I wanted to take some time to talk to one of the most unique players in the Metro League, a guy who really needs no introduction. Metro pitchers have certainly had their fair share of this guy. He hit .595 last year, but the most astounding number he's got isn't his batting average, his RBIs, or anything like that. The most astounding number is his age. At 43 years old, Alex is one of the older players in the Metro League, and still, definitely one of the best. He's part of a great Nassau Yankees team that picked up a lot of guys in the offseason and looked to be one of the favorites in the Bronx-Manhattan division. Aside from that, he's the manager of the 2-time All-Boro champs, the Twins, plays in a variety of other leagues around the New York City area, and really is one of the best baseball personalities we've got in our fair city. So without any further ado, let's bring him on. Alex Oates, how you doing, man?
How you doing, Mike? Working hard, getting ready for the upcoming season. Early start, played 4 games so far.
No, I hear you. And I was looking at your Facebook just a little while ago. Looks like you have a pretty full weekend ahead in terms of games. How many games you playing this weekend?
Might possibly play up to 3 games on Saturday and 3 on Sunday. 6 games with about 3 or 4 different teams. That's
pretty crazy. I'm not a young guy myself, but 2 games is a lot for me. I mean, when you come into a weekend like that, just does it take just a real love of baseball to be able to go out there for as long as you do each week?
Well, it's like a stress relief after working hard all week, and to be able to still be appreciated and wanted at 43 is just a blessing itself. That people even call and say, "Hey, we're playing in 18 and over, but we don't care how old you are. We know you can still do it." It's humbling. So you don't want to disappoint. You go out and you kind of have a good breakfast and you just monitor your strength. And maybe after 1 or 2 at bats, you just don't overdo it. And you might want to tell a coach pull you after 2 at bats. But the key is to just be real with yourself. When you're getting tired, just say, "Hey, coach, let me get a breather."
I hear you. I mean, and considering that not only are you playing, in these 18 over leagues, you hit over 500 in the Metro League last year. You're one of the top hitters around. Now, how much work do you generally put in the off season, just getting ready for that long summer and however many teams you're playing on?
In the off season, we usually go, because I also coach the Twins, so we usually go up to Pro Swing up in Port Chester, and we'll do 3 hours on a Saturday, and then the Yankees will work out maybe 2 hours on Sunday. So it's about 5 hours every week during the winter that you just want to just keep doing soft toss, and replicating the same swing over and over again, and kind of just get into a groove while it's snow on the ground and it's raining, but you want to be indoors just taking your cuts.
Yeah, and just from a hitter's standpoint, and a baseball player's standpoint, if you look at yourself now at 43, and you look at yourself maybe as a hitter and as a player, 20 years ago, do you think that you've gotten smarter when it comes to reading pitchers and just knowing what to expect from the game each time you go out there?
It's you're definitely smarter, and it's pay attention to detail while a pitcher's warming up and watching his tendencies. Because usually I might hit anywhere from 3 to 8. Mm-hmm. So when I'm in a dugout, I'm not. It's like these young generation guys that might be in there listening to music on their cell phones. I'm watching how he's pitching to those couple of batters until I get up. And if I see a tendency, whether it's first pitch curve or first pitch fastball, I'm going to just try to jump on it and beat him to the punch. Even though I might not be that good of a curveball hitter, but if I sit on one, I might have a shot. So I'm really detailing and paying attention to the game, and it's called the game within the game. So I'm watching what the pitcher's doing, how's he warming up, how does the fastball move, and I'll make the adjustment like that and try to get him. That's how you got to do it when you're 43.
No, I mean, and that's one of the things I wanted to talk to you about is kind of the younger generation of player. I mean, when you broke into let's say the men's amateur scene. I mean, what was your first experience playing this men's amateur baseball in the city area? When was that?
We're talking 1985 is my first year of high school, 85 to 89. I went to Norman Thomas High School when it was a business school before it became the baseball juggernaut that it is now. And unfortunately, it's closing. But I lived in the Bronx, and my brother went to Norman Thomas from 81 to 85. So I was recruited as a junior high school player, and they just, got the paperwork correct, and I got on the 6th train and just rode the back of the train all the way down to 33rd Street, and our home field was Central Park, and it was different. It was very competitive, and I would like to say I had a hand in making Norman Thomas what it was, but obviously I didn't. Some of the younger guys in the last 10 years put Norman Thomas on the map.
And do you see any differences with the guys coming up? Because obviously, there's a lot of guys on the Yankees and probably on the Twins that are, younger guys coming up, 18, 19. Do you get the feeling that these guys have the same sort of mental approach to the game that maybe you guys had back in the day? Has that changed at all in your mind?
It's changed dramatically because you have so many different variables. When I was growing up, you didn't have video games, and I think when we had maybe Atari. So when we were growing up, you had to go outside and create a game. You went outside, you played catch, you played stickball. The kids nowadays, they don't do that. They run home and play video games. So it's way different now than it was 20, 30 years ago. We went to school and all we did was go outside, play catch, and play baseball. Now you have so many different obstacles from work and having kids early, and it's just not being focused and loving the game the way it used to be. Baseball was all we had growing up in the 80s. I grew up on Tremont, right by Cortona Park, and we have all those baseballs around. We just come home, we just pick a field. We was lucky. We lived growing up in the Bronx. It was just go outside and play, even if you just had a little beat-down glove. It's not like that anymore because you have so many different things stopping you from playing the game.
And, obviously anybody that decides to come out over the summer and, and play the game, obviously they've got to have some sort of love for it. But do you find that even if that love for baseball and going outside and playing isn't as widespread as it used to be, the guys who are still drawn to the game, do you think that they still have that same kind of passion?
They still have the same kind of passion, but just on a different level. I'll give you an example. Say if you have a kid, everybody loves each other. So even if you're playing against an opponent that you might want to beat or you're a pitcher, you might want to brush them back, they don't do it anymore. Because why? Because everybody's friends now. It's not like that back in the day. Back in the days, you hit a home run and you throw the bat in the air, you would get brushed back. That very next batter would get brushed back. Now it's kind of everybody loves each other. Everybody knows each other before the game. So the pay attention for the detail in today's game is missing. Kids nowadays, they don't understand the dedication it takes to be a major league ball player. The amount of work you have to put in, the minor league system, the buses, the colleges, the junior colleges. It is very difficult to make it to the majors, and you have to be dedicated 24/7. And I think kids take it for granted. They might be talented, but they have to put in that extra work, and sometimes that's missing.
Would you say, because, looking at the way the game is now and guys from different leagues and different teams, everybody's, on Twitter, on Facebook, everyone's talking and liking each other's pictures. Do you think that kind of contributes to that whole, the kind of atmosphere where, everybody's kind of buddy on the field now?
Right, because you might have, and also everybody's playing in multiple leagues. So you might be a rival. For instance, we have rivals in Taft with Victor Padilla because he might play in the Marlins. But on the weekends, he's my teammate on the Yankees.
Yep.
So how do you compete in that rivalry? Because you might be screaming at him one game, and then the next game you're cheering him on. So there's so many leagues, so many different teammates going on. It causes everybody to be friends, and it's kind of hard to have that constant battle because hey, he's on my team on this other team. So it takes away from it a little bit because I think New York has too many leagues at times. It's so many leagues. It's like wow.
No, I hear you, and that kind of segues into the next thing I wanted to ask you about is, obviously you're with the Yankees here in Metro and with the Twins in All-Boro. Are you guys the two-time defending champions there?
Yeah, we've been in existence for 3 years now. Our first year was in 2011, and we lost to the Falcons in the championship. So our very first year we made it to the chip. We lost 3-1. And then the next 2 years we won the championship, 2012 and 2013. So I usually tell the guys before the year, we have a few goals. You want to get a 1 or 2 seed. You want to make the playoffs, and you want to play in the chip. I never tell the guys you have to win the chip. if you're one of the last two teams standing, you won already. There's a bunch of teams who's home who are already watching you. If you just get to play in a chip, that's an accomplishment in itself. And then from there, it's called the baseball gods. A few bounces here and there go your way, and you win a chip. It's really just the luck at that point. But if you make it to the chip, I feel as a coach, the coaching part of me, that's just like an accomplishment in itself.
And you've brought a few more of the Twins players over to play in Metro for the Yankees this year, correct?
Correct.
So from just a team building standpoint, how important is that in terms of not only having the guys who are talented out there, but also having a group of guys who know how to play together, they know each other's tendencies. Do you think that has a tendency to equal success?
Correct, and also playing together on multiple teams. So you have guys like Joey Guerrero we brought over. Well, Joey's played like 2 years now. You have the Chris Riveras. We brought over Lindo Familia from the D-backs. And what happens is when you start playing together all the time, it makes it kind of easier because you know what you expect from that person. Or if he's struggling, you know he's going to snap out of it because now you have multiple at-bats. And you're not just seeing that person one weekend. You see him with the Twins. You see him with the Yankees. You know if he's hot. You know if he's cold. And with the Yankees, we just wanted to make them just a little stronger. We just got tired of losing. We always make the playoffs. Mm-hmm. We always have a decent season. But then at the end, something always goes wrong. And I'll always speak to Vic Catano, the owner of the Yankees, and I would say, you know what? Let's just get a little stronger. With the core guys you got, we'll add a few more core guys. And it's not many ex-players. It's just regular guys who are good. No minor league, no major league players, nothing like that. And you blend it in with the Yankees and the Twins, and it's been a complete success. Everybody gets along. Everybody sees each other both days, and it's just been fun.
And one of the things I wanted to ask, I mean, you talked about, especially with, a guy like Victor, you guys are playing in different leagues, and obviously him being a pitcher, if he decides to throw a game, in All-Boro maybe on a Thursday and you guys have a game on Saturday, that probably affects what you're going to do in terms of managing your pitching that day. I mean, do you keep tabs on who's throwing when and who you're going to have available each weekend?
I'll go to all the All-Boro games, but what we do as a team, me and Victor, we try to just give the pitchers a courtesy call. Hey, how you feeling? Mm-hmm. What you do this week? How many innings you throw? What's your availability before even Saturday or Sunday gets here? And that way we kind of monitor that way. With Metro being 2 7-inning games, it kind of give us a little easy way out because we can throw 2 pitches for 4 or 5 innings and get away with it. But when one of the horses pitches like Victor, Chris, or Jonathan Gonzalez, they usually go the whole game, which makes it easy for us. And if they're not throwing, we'll just kind of mix and match and try to make it work. But we'll usually just give the player himself a phone call. Hey, how you doing? How's everything? Ask him how the family's doing. You just don't want to call him and see if he can pitch. How's everything? And they'll tell you everybody's all right. Okay, what you got this weekend? No, coach, I'm out of it. I pitch here, a couple innings, or I'm good to go. Once a couple of pitchers tell you good to go, you just mix and match and you go from there.
Well, and it seems like you guys are, in terms of the Yankees, you guys are pretty set with pitching. You guys have a lot of talented arms there where it seems like you can make up if one weekend you don't have one of the horses that you guys definitely have more than enough pitching, right?
Right. We have 7 pitchers. We have Chris, we have Victor, we have Jonathan, we have Joshua, who's an upcoming pitcher. We have 2 pitchers in college. We have a couple of position pitchers who can pitch. So we have Manny Baldero, who came over from the D-backs. With the D-backs folding, that also helped us to pick up a couple of players. They had players looking for a place to play, and Pete Alvarez, the coach from D-backs, we brought him on to help out, assist with coaching. So united the D-backs, the Twins, the Yankees, and hopefully if the chemistry's there, we put together a decent squad to make a run at the Metro Championship.
Well, I mean, and obviously you guys have a ton of talented players, and I did also want to ask, with you and obviously Victor, and now bringing on Pete Alvarez, what are those discussions like, with the coaching staff as you guys get ready for a game? What's that whole process been like for you?
With you usually have about 20 to 22 players there, mm-hmm. So we'll get in a huddle and we make sure everybody plays at least one game. And you got 1 or 2 or 3 players who play both. Whoever has the hot bat, and right now it's Joey because he's leading Joey Guerrero because he's leading the league in hitting, so he'll usually play both games. I usually don't play both games because of the age. I'll play 1.5. but you have some of the guys who play 2 games. Chris will play 2 games, and then we'll mix and match at the other spots. But usually what we tell the guys is, hey, we'll give you a shot during the season. Make sure you get your AVs and show us and the world what you got. And then once we get close to July and August, we'll tamper down the starting 9 lineup leading into the playoffs, because at that point, we'll know who deserves to be in the starting 9. But the most important thing is during the season is make sure everybody's involved and they feel like they're part of a team. We just don't want to show up and throw the same 9 guys out on the field. That's when it's not fun.
Yeah.
You got people just sitting on the bench every weekend after weekend. We don't want to do that. We make sure everybody gets in the game, gets at least 1 or 2 at-bats for the weekends, throws a couple innings. Everybody contributed to a victory, and we make a conscious effort to make sure everybody's involved. And then when the playoffs come, hey, the numbers don't lie at the end of the year. We look at the numbers, and the best 9 or 10 will go.
Now, obviously, you got the Yankees, you got the Twins, but you also play on some other teams throughout the summer. Like how many teams, how many leagues do you play in?
I got the Twins. I don't play. I just coach, so that's a good thing. I just try to manage them. The Yankees. We have the White Sox at the NYCMBL, which is a new league.
Yep.
We have the over 35 in Randall's Island, which is called the Angels. They only play on Sundays, and there's only 1 game, 7 innings. And I'm looking to sign on with a team in Brooklyn. Actually, tonight, after I get off the phone, I have to drive to Brooklyn and see if I sign on with a team out in the Zodiac Baseball League.
Oh, awesome. So, obviously, you're kind of on both sides of the fence there. I mean, you're managing in some leagues, just playing in some other leagues. What's the difference like, between the two? And do you find one more relaxing than the other? Is it more relaxing just to be a player?
It's more relaxing to be a player, but it's more rewarding to win as a coach. Mm-hmm. When you sit at home and you come up with a plan and it works and the guys win and you see the joy on the other guy's face with a plan that you put together and they execute, there's no feeling you can describe as a coach to see grown men jumping around and just being happy because your organizational skills and the plan that you put together, it's working. Once everybody buys into the system, I will say as a coach, it's definitely more rewarding.
Now, when you think back to all the teams that you've played on in kind of the men's amateur landscape, is there one team that sticks out to you? Maybe one team, one year that you think was probably the best collection of talent that you've played on?
Oh, without a doubt. I always tell Joe Alvarez and a couple of guys, the very first Twins team was unbelievable. The team that didn't win, not the 2 teams that won. The team that didn't win was just unbelievable because I think 3 years ago we had everybody in their prime. So we had Antoine Barnett, we had Ray Montanez, we had Kelly Williams, we had Elvin Vargas, we had Panama Cruz, who of course you know from Cluno Sports. Mm-hmm. We had Mike Streaman. We had a pipeline of pitching from college. We had Rondon. We had an amazing first-year team. We just ran into an even better team with the Falcons.
And when you look at keeping teams together, I mean, you had a great team that year, and it seems like, it was the next year that you finally got over the hump. I mean, what changes from year to year in the type of team that you try to bring back in the core group of guys that you want to bring back?
We kind of look at the character guys. We try to take the guy that has enough talent, but is also a team player. We kind of look at that person compared to going after the guy who's been released or the guy who's a superstar on another team. We kind of take the okay player who has talent, who we could tweak into our system and make it work. That works for the Twins and Yankees. Going after the superstar kind of sometimes brings you cancer in the dugout. It becomes a little diva-ish where you have to play him all the time. We look at the guy who's kind of quiet, has a little bit of talent or a lot of talent, but buys into the team concept. And for us, that's been working that way.
Well, yeah, because I was going to ask a lot of times in the off season, you'll see coaches who are trying to track down a guy who, maybe is just coming fresh off an independent ball, and a lot of times it seems that those guys, not all of them, but some of them think that they might be too good for this. Is that kind of the sense that you get, and when you're trying to bring in these character guys?
Sometimes the guys who come in from independent ball, especially in All-Boro, they struggle a little bit because you have different lighting. The lights in All-Boro is not the same as a pro park. and, playing at night every day, 8 o'clock at night, maybe after work. So it takes a minor league player a little while to adjust, and then they get used to it. Compared to playing in the daytime, minor league player always is going to succeed. 1 o'clock in the afternoon, TAF. They play in the Metro League, they're always going to succeed. It's just that nighttime baseball and TAF is a little different. And, the guy released 9 times out of 10, he's going to go to Brooklyn to to play out there because that's where they all go.
Well, yeah, and I wanted to ask about that because that's obviously a league that's been around a long time, and it has a great reputation for being a great place for good ball players. I mean, what have your experiences been with in that league? Have you played in that league before?
We played in there 2 years. The first year we was 9-8, and we were 1 game out the playoffs. And the second year we didn't have a good year. I think we were about 6-16, something like that. We had a losing record, and even with the losing record, we were 2 games out of making the playoffs. But it's a very humbling experience. The Zoria baseball will humble you because I think here's the difference, and in all the leagues. When you play in Metro, you might have a team that has 1 through 5, that has decent hitters, and maybe 1 or 2 pitchers. Because, again, what we talked about before, there's so many games going on the weekend. In Zoria, 1 through 9 can hit. In Zoria, every single pitcher can pitch because they only play out there 1 game a week, and it's on the weekend. So they kind of stack up their team to have 20 stud players. And if you don't have a team of 20 stud people, you will not succeed out there. You will be humbled. It's not the same compared to Metro where you guys playing, having fun, guys getting out of work. Each team has like 4 or 5 great hitters, and then the lineup kind of waters down at the end. Out there in Brooklyn, 1 through 9 can hit it out the park.
Well, it seems to me, I mean, we talked earlier about there maybe being too many leagues in the city, but it seems kind of like that there's a home for everybody. It seems like, there's the league for the stud ball players and the teams that stack up. There's a team for, the working guys. I mean, was this maybe the case when you first broke in, or was it maybe like a smaller, more concentrated group of ball players playing in the New York area?
Well, I'll tell you a funny story. When I finished college in '94 and frustrated with not being drafted after 4 years of hitting over 400 in college, I didn't play baseball till 2009, from 1994. Wow. So it's not like I've been playing baseball continuously ever since I left college. I was mad at baseball, so I stopped playing from '94 all the way to 2009. I went and got a job, started a family, had some kids, and then in 2009, I just saw everybody on Facebook, and I was like, you know what, I want to play again. And I picked the first league I played in was the NABA with the White Sox in New Jersey. And when I started playing out there, it took me about 6 months to get back into the shape of things, and then I started playing with the Braves in RBI. And then once you start doing good and everybody starts meeting you, the word starts getting out. And now the doors that used to be closed are now wide open for me, and it's just a blessing to still be playing at 43.
I mean, is that, when you come up as a kid, obviously everybody's goal is to get drafted, play professional ball. Did you ever think that you'd still be playing ball at 43, maybe when you were 15, 16 years old?
No way. No way. When I was growing up, we thought I had a shot. I was a good hitter, decent fielder, but I was always slow. That was my problem when I was growing up in college. I played ball with Manny Ramirez and Frank Rodriguez. The entire team I played on got drafted, like the starting 8, starting 9. Everybody but me. That's the funny thing. And the youth service team I played on in 1989, we went into New Mexico in the World Series, and we played in front of 300-400 scouts because Manny Ramirez was on that team. And I had every opportunity, so I guess I was a little upset in '94, but I guess in '94 to 2009, I never went to go play adult baseball. I used to drive by TAF and RBI and the fields, and I used to be like, I'm going to work. Forget about it. This baseball thing is over. And then to pick it back up in '09, it was like, it took a while, 4 or 5 months. It took a while, but picked it right back up.
What would you say that the hardest part, just from a baseball standpoint was of making your return to the game and coming back and trying to pick up where you left off? Was it just seeing the ball, or, what was it?
I would say playing defense, how fast the ball gets to you. You're a little slower. Hitting is still okay. You get in the cages, and after about 2 or 3 months, you can still see the ball. I was playing day games in Jersey, and it was fine. We had some pitchers throwing 88, 90, but on the whole, it was like 85, 86. But playing first base and somebody hitting a two-hopper and is in the outfield already, by the time you try to feel it was already in the outfield, that was the rough part because your reaction was slow. Your reaction on the field was real slow, but compared to hitting, I picked it back up pretty good.
Well, and I wanted to ask, I mean, last week, one of our players of the week, Nick Travolino over on the Rainmakers, guy throws a 3-hit shutout complete game. He's 38. The guy he was throwing to, the catcher, guy's 37. Does it kind of make you happy to see some of the older guys, picking up the slack and contributing a little bit?
Absolutely. It's great to see some of the older guys. It's just to see them compete because you want to say, wow, what was this guy like at 20? Mm-hmm. If he's competing now at 43, what was he like at 20, 22, 23? I wish I could have saw that, but to see guys out there having fun, competing, and getting respect from the young guys, it's a great thing to see in your league. And the Metro League has a lot of that, a lot of old, a lot of young in between, college, old. Everybody's just having fun, just competing.
So now, who do you guys have this weekend?
We have our rivalries, I believe, is the Giants at 4:00 in Red Hook.
Right, so, I mean, you've seen them, you saw them last year. What's your kind of take on what you guys are going to be needing to do to be successful this week?
We have Jonathan pitching, who threw the no-hitter, so he gives us 5 or 6 quality innings. So if we put some runs on the board, we should be okay. And then Chris is going game 1, and he's been a horse for us for the last 4 or 5 years, pitching every big game. With us, if we hit, we usually be okay. The pitching has been solid throughout the years. If we put a couple of runs on board, the Yankees are usually okay.
And finally, the last thing I want to ask, you're 43 now. You're still playing at a high level. Do you have any plans on slowing down, or are you going to keep on going?
I say maybe 2 more years. I keep saying I'm going to retire. Then the guys bring me back in. But I have Bryce and Brandon. Bryce is 5, little Brandon is 3. I guess when they're 7 and 5 and they start playing Little League and swinging a bat, I think Daddy's going to have to be at the Little League games.
And do they come to the games? Do they get to watch you play?
They come to all the games. They come to like 85% of the games. They'll sit there and they go, there go Daddy. They'll play on the iPad, and that's what we talked about. Things are different. They'll just see my at-bats, and then they'll go back to playing on their iPad. And they come to all the games and support Daddy. It's real cool to have the kids to support me, and then I'll go to their swimming meets and their track meets, and I'll support them.
Well, I mean, how cool is it going to be, in a couple of years when you're going to be able to sit down over beer and they're going, oh, Dad, we remembered watching you play. I mean, how cool is that just as a father?
It's real cool. I drag them with me because I want them to see how hard I'm working. So hopefully they'll be working. They didn't get it yet, but I think they're going to be okay. They see me playing. I think they're going to be all right. And when Bryce was playing in T-ball, I kind of stood back. I let the coach whatever he said, whether I thought was right or wrong. I wasn't one of the parents on him. I just sat back and let him be a kid and let him have fun. And when he gets older and he hones his skills a little more, then Daddy will come in. But right now, I'm just letting him play and let him have fun, let him listen to his coach. I'm just in the background in the beach chair.
Sounds good. Alex, thank you so much for coming on. We definitely appreciate you, and we look for more big things from you and the Yankees this year.
Thanks, Mike. It was a pleasure talking to you. I appreciate even having me, Amar. It was very humbling. Thank you very much.
No problem. Take care.
You too.
All right, bye-bye. Again, my thanks to Alex Oates for coming on. Alex is kind of an inspiration for all of us guys getting a little bit older, a little bit longer in the tooth. If I can be half the player he is at his age, or even still playing the game at all, I'm going to consider my baseball career a success. So that just about does it for the podcast tonight. We got a full slate of games this weekend, looking to get back into it after an Easter weekend that a lot of teams had off. So until next time, stay healthy, stay happy, and keep it between the lines.